Hey y'all, welcome to Remote Viewing Investigations with Jessica. I'm your host, Jessica Jones. We'll be peering through the veil to shed light on mysterious cases from all over the world. We invite you to join us on this magnificent journey through space and time to try to unravel these mysteries. Please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, share this out, and subscribe to Texas Front Porch and to my channel, The Cryptid Huntress on YouTube. You can find us on Odyssey Radio and iHeartRadio and can contact us at Texas Front Porch on Facebook or email us at paracryptidencounters@gmail.com and oracleofthesouth@gmail.com. You can reach us through text at 972-559-0988. If you'd like to support us in what we do here, our super chats are open. Thanks and enjoy the show. Hey y'all, welcome into Remote Viewing Investigations with Jessica. I'm your host, Jessica Jones. I'm so glad you guys are here tonight. I have another very interesting and weird target for us tonight. We are going to explore Organism 46b. Now, I was not super familiar with this when I was assigned this target. And let me tell you, my friend, Barry Littleton, is the one who suggested this. So I actually have him here with me tonight. And we're going to be discussing Organism 46b tonight. And for those of you who don't know what it is, I'm going to tell you. Okay. But before we start tonight, if you guys would like to support my work and everything that I do here, please visit my shop, War Woman Goods. It's on Etsy. I'm having a sale this week. I don't remember if I put that up on my ticker. Probably not. But hey, if you guys would like to buy something from my shop, when you go to checkout, type in Bigfoot. That's the promo code this week. It's good through Sunday. Promo code Bigfoot. You guys get a discount in my shop. It's just my little way of saying thank you to all of my audience. I love you guys, and I appreciate y'all spending another Friday night with the Cryptid Huntress here on my show with Texas Front Porch. You know, I simulcast on my YouTube channel and my Facebook, the Cryptid Huntress, with Texas Front Porch, and so no matter what outlet you're watching on tonight, I appreciate all you guys, and thanks for being here. Okay, well, let's get into the target tonight. Organism 46b. I'm going to read a little bit about it, just so you guys can get an idea. Okay, Organism 46b is an enormous 33-foot long, 14-tentacled squid-like creature which lived in Lake Vostok, a subglacial lake located under 2 miles of ice beneath Vostok Station in the Antarctic. The animal could release a toxin into the water to immobilize its prey from a distance of up to 150 feet. It displayed an astonishing degree of shape-shifting. Its limbs were animate and aggressive, even after amputation. Okay, after this thing got its tentacles lopped off, they came back to life. Okay, it showed a considerable degree of both hostility and intelligence. The Vostok Station was established by the Soviets in 1957. It was discovered to have been on top of a body of liquid water beneath ice in 1974. After 30 years of ice core drilling, the research team breached through the lake on the 5th of February, 2012. And this encounter with this animal was said to occur sometime between the 30th of November of 2016 and then. So, but we don't know the exact date. One of the scientists, so this Organism 46b was said to have attacked a research team. Okay. And they said that they encountered it the first day. It disabled their radio, which they later learned was intentional. It was also able to paralyze prey from a distance of up to 150 feet by releasing its venom into the water. It says that one of the research people died. Okay. Later, while diving in the lake, a group was attacked. The creature released its venom. It took hold of one of them and killed and ate him. Okay. The guy treaded water wearing a smile on his face. As the organism approached him, they watched helplessly as it used its arms to tear off his head and popped the remains in its mouth. All right, that was kind of gross. I'm sorry, y'all. But it was able to hypnotize him telepathically. Later, it stalked the group and it shapeshifted into the form of a human diver. All right. They thought that it was one of their colleagues swimming away, but it was this organism that had shaped into the form of a human and yeah, tore someone else to bits. Okay. So, but anyways, one of the team members managed to lop off one of the tentacles. And later that night, that tentacle crawled across an ice bank and it strangled another researcher. This is just a report. Okay. So yeah, this thing was pretty brutal, but okay. Eventually, it said that Vladimir Putin planned to weaponize 46B, and the Russian government has denied all knowledge of these claims. All right, this is kind of out there, y'all. This is kind of crazy. This is something I'm used to dealing with Bigfoot, okay, and aliens. So this is a sea creature and a sea cryptid that it just seems like more than just a sea creature. It sounds like something that is out of this world, from out of this world. So to discuss this tonight, I have my friend and fellow researcher and experiencer, Mr. Barry Littleton here. I'm going to bring him up. This was Barry's suggestion tonight, so we're going to go down another rabbit hole, you guys. This is a deep rabbit hole tonight. Okay, so y'all bear with us. It's going to be a really fun ride. And here's Barry for everybody. Hey, Barry. Thank you for being here.
Hey, how you doing, Jessica? Thank you for having me.
Man, I'm excellent. Let me tell you, like after I remote viewed this, I actually remote viewed it twice. And what I did was I remote viewed just the organism. Okay, I did not remote view the attack. I did two targets of the organism. And it was so odd. I just kind of stuck with that. And the first time I remote viewed it, I got seasick and I had to quit. Okay, which is interesting. And that actually happens when you're remote viewing. You're in there. You're in there in the water. And I have gotten seasick before in real life. Okay, IRL. I got sick on a boat. And I believe I was picking up on that again. But yeah, this is an interesting target, Barry. What got you interested in Organism 46B?
Well, I have a affinity for sea cryptids. I always have, and since childhood even. But this one in particular, one is I want to know if it was real or not, and I knew that you'd be able to find that out. And it's a story that I had heard years and years ago that seemed to go away and then resurfaced, and even to the point to where now there's some augmentation that has Putin involved in it. They're saying he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard about this long before that, and it's so in that way. And then all of a sudden, it was relegated to it was this guy named C. Michael Forsyth. Mm-hmm. This was a story that he just put out and was so good with it that everybody bought it. But that's something that was implemented. And when you get counterintelligence that starts really wanting to debunk something, that's the first thing they do, is that right there. Yeah. So I'm very leery of that. And I wanted to know, because to me, I pick up things psychically when I hear things and information will come in. And I always like that kind of seeing how much that compares to what you get in your remote viewing. It's always very interesting. But for this, I had picked up a lot, like connecting this organism to the Kraken and type of a sentinel, and the way this was described, and like this, the Kraken was the same thing, and that takes us into Humboldt squid and some other things that the Kraken might actually have been. So I was curious about that too, and if nothing else, it's food for thought,
Absolutely. That is so funny that you said the Kraken, because guess what? In my first target, I actually kept hearing the Kraken, the ice cold Kraken. Okay. So I did pick up on a Kraken. Some of the first things that I picked up on both targets that I did were electricity and electric. And at first I was seeing something that looked like an octopus or a squid. It had tentacles on it. And I was getting that it was a killer, and it was the Kraken, or a type of Kraken. And I didn't know what a Kraken was. I just know that I've seen, like Pirates of the Caribbean, and they got the Davy Jones locker. And I'm thinking of the Kraken when I watched that movie. But I was, And both of my targets, Barry, I was picking up on actual names of people involved in what was going on there, and perhaps even in this research group. I don't know. I don't know the people's names. I wasn't able to find their names, but I was picking up on a sea creature that was real, and it was able to do a lot of very interesting things to people telepathically, like including giving them heart attacks and things like that is what I was picking up on. But I was picking up on more of an organic kind of animal that looked kind of like an octopus. So
Did you see any squid? I guess squids and octopi, they look similar, but they're different. You pick anything up maybe that was squid-like too?
yes, I did. I actually picked up both squid and octopus. Okay. And which kind of was making me think after I got done with that first session. I when I did the Loveland frogman, I was picking up a reptilian amphibian. Okay, and which didn't make sense. But with this, I was picking up kind of the same thing. It was like a squid octopus. But see, here's the thing. I'm not real familiar with sea life. And so I was seeing both, and they do kind of look alike. I don't know. I've never eaten octopus, but calamari sure is delicious. Okay, so I don't
I
know.
enjoy it myself,
It's all the
actually.
same
Yeah,
to me.
real calamari. Yeah.
Yeah. Fried
Oh
calamari is
wow.
my jam. I do like that.
I'm a big seafood eater, so I
Me
don't want
too.
to upset all the people out there. So, oh no, but yeah, that I think that when dealing with this, all right, and the fact that it's some type of an octopus squid type of thing,
Mhm.
and where our science has taken us now with the octopus, saying that it most likely, especially with its brain structure, it appears to be of extraterrestrial origin.
Oh,
There's a lot
yes.
of documentation, a lot of scientific stuff being done about that right now. And I mean, even as far over as that's just recent, but they've adopted a very popular TV show that I've been watching. It actually makes me laugh. It's called Resident Alien on Sci-Fi Channel. And when you see, he looks like human half the time, but when he's not, he's supposed to be some type of a being that claims to be a descendant of the octopus.
Okay.
Even to where when I'm watching this thing, they go to a UFO conference and he's running from this alien hunter and he runs into the guy from Ancient Aliens that's sitting there. He's been on there like twice, the guy with the hair, the Don King of Ancient Aliens, and then you got also they're talking about blue avians on there. I'm like, you serious?
Okay.
I'm watching
This is
that.
wild.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting show. It's called Resident Alien, but he come to destroy the Earth, but they're octopus type of beings. And I'm just saying, when bringing this in here to what we're having here, and thinking about what history shows, especially with things like the doggone, that most people, I know everybody listening here is familiar with them, but the doggone say about the Nomo, the beings that were aquatic, amphibious, that came from Sirius. They said when they came here, the first thing they did, the ship went down into the ocean, in the water, and then they
You're
emerged later.
you're
So
gonna love my second target, Barry, because you're covering all sorts of stuff that's in my second target, I
sorry,
think.
I'm getting too excited. I
No,
need to wait for you to.
it's a preview. It's a little preview, and I just want the audience to know tonight. And honestly, if anyone would like to go check out my remote viewing data, it is in my Patreon. And I did, like I said, I did 2 targets on this. The first one I had to pull out a little early because I was getting seasick. I'm a total wimp when it comes to being in the deep sea, especially in Antarctica apparently, and it was cold. Okay, but when you remote view, you're actually there. Okay, and so it was. I felt like I was rocking on a boat. It sucked, but anyways, but I did get a lot of this information you're talking about is in my second target, Barry. Okay, and I don't have cable, and I did get Discovery Plus recently, but I am really bad about watching TV, so I have not watched any. The only thing I watch is Ghost Adventures. Okay, I'm gonna go and admit that, but I did pick up on aliens. This thing was an alien. Okay. Um, let me before I finish with my first target, bless you.
Oh,
I
sorry.
did some of the last stuff I picked up on before I got seasick was shapeshifter. So it was a shapeshifter. Now octopi, I think that's how you say it. They are able to, squeeze through tiny little pinholes and stuff like that, and squid probably too. I don't know, but That doesn't mean it's a shapeshifter, though. It doesn't mean that an octopus turns into a human-looking diver.
Well, they say that that's this thing did though.
It did.
And it's so interesting because that story begins like some of the stories from some say it's Lake
Vostok, I believe.
Vostok, there's another one where they have the ice crystal things that form in there, but they're talking about these divers that appear and they lure the real divers down deeper, and they don't seem to have any type of equipment. Yeah,
we were
too. I've heard that quite a bit.
Well, we had mentioned that Vladimir Putin wanted to weaponize this, and so I found this funny picture. I just thought this is for comic relief, y'all. I don't know. I saw that online today. But anyways, yeah, it's but when you pull up Organism 46b, these are the pictures that come up are of things that look like an octopus. Okay. And yes, I did see that at first, but that's not all I saw.
Yeah, that's a deep sea octopus thing right there. That's called the glass octopus.
It is.
Yeah.
But this thing was long.
They said that Organism 46b had 14 tentacles and was about 33 feet long. And when it approached the divers, at first it looked like a diver. It masked itself and camouflaged itself as a diver. But something else interesting about this is they said it had some type of a hypnotic ability that seemed to make everyone freeze. And then that it had some type of an ink sac that ejected an ink that was a poison that basically
venom.
Yeah, venom but when it in the water, it actually, I want to say, immobilized people. When
it did.
Yeah, so it's fascinating. So anyway, so please keep talking. I want to hear more about
it. Well, something that I kept picking up on with this organism, we're going to call it the organism, was electricity, and it was almost like it could shock people. And I kept picking up on like heart attacks on both of my targets. I picked up on electricity and shock. Okay. But on my second target, Barry, I immediately, the first thing that I wrote down, alien. Okay. Alien. This is alien. Very Kraken-like, but it's an alien species. This is part of like a hidden truth. Okay. We all know that Antarctica is very mysterious. Okay. And we may just be going into a little bit of history of Antarctica tonight too, because I have a whole lot of pictures to show and some information about Antarctica. And, Antarctica is kind of off limits. Okay. I believe it may be a no-fly zone for all I know. But there's a whole lot of speculation around a whole lot of UFO activity in Antarctica, perhaps like inner Earth stuff going on, pyramids, ancient civilizations. Okay. And we're even going to get into what is called, there's an ancient map, and I believe it's called the Piri Reis map. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but it's an ancient map of Antarctica back before it was frozen. Okay. And we'll get into that in just a minute as well. But I was getting that this is an otherworldly type of being. And yeah, it looks kind of like an octopus, kind of Kraken-like, but it's very telepathic, very enlightened. And I was getting that it was very ancient, like an ancient type of an organism, I guess you could say. And I started picking up on inner Earth portals and bases underwater bases. I was picking up on a whole lot of UFO activity, submarine. Okay. I know like submarine is like a vehicle, right? But I wasn't picking up on like a vehicle. Perhaps I was picking up on sea life, super deep down underwater. Sub-alien. I was picking up sub-alien. What does that even mean? I don't know what sub-alien is.
Probably hybrid. Probably hybrid.
Yeah, sub-alien is something that I kept coming up with. But yeah, a subspecies of some sort. But it was something very ancient, something very large, something very intelligent. And it's deep underwater, but it has something to do with it, like alien bases underneath Antarctica. And that's like a conspiracy theory, right? I've learned over the past couple of years, conspiracy theories are usually right. Okay. I don't know about you, Barry, but I'm learning. that what we assume and we've heard and we read about, a lot of these things are real. What do you think?
Well, yes and no. There's just so many lies that go in with everything that we're told. Just like, for example, for me, I just have to keep it 100 always. When I hear still, and I'm involved in some of these circles talking about it some of the times, but what we hear about the contact phenomenon, extraterrestrial contact phenomenon, is not at all like what's represented in the media. It's really not for most of us. And then when we start having these experiences and it doesn't conform to some of these conspiracy things, you think that it's not accurate, Yeah. But as far as when it comes to these cryptids and the government's knowledge of them and Big Brother, I have no doubt about that, and it seems to be just endless. And the things we talked about last show, which was like these laboratories they have, how many of these are things that they're trying to keep going for when this was still a type 1 civilization with these other civilizations that come here, especially this underground stuff, and you've got things like these various cryptids to me that always seem like they've been purposely, the sea ones especially, purposely put here. And they seem like they have access, like the ones at Loch Ness, access to some of these portals that we talked about. They're more than just in the forest. They can be in the ocean also.
Yes. Candy, I just want to make it clear. This was this was recent. This was more like 2016. This wasn't in 1982. Okay. Because I had some people asking what year it was. It was actually more like 2016 to 20, around recent years. Okay. This is not something from the 1950s. I mean, they spent, I think it was like 30 years drilling down through the ice to get to this ocean or this water.
When I first heard this story, it's before it went mainstream or anything. It's been a long time. I was looking at a magazine, but it was, I want to say like around 2000, probably 2005, 6, 7, 8. And then I couldn't find out anything more about it. And then the internet gets more popular and things. And now we hear more about it.
Well, I think that may have something to do with the fact that it was out of Antarctica. Okay. And Antarctica is, it's one of those anomalous areas that we're not supposed to talk about too much. We're not supposed to know a whole lot about. And so I don't know. It's just clouded in a whole lot of mysteries down there. And some people say that there are ancient pyramids down there. Some people say there are UFO bases and aliens. Well, I was picking up absolutely 100%. There are alien bases underwater down there. And I was getting underwater around this area. So,
this takes us all into almost also, when you say this is of extraterrestrial origin, also the things we hear about mermaids, and something you had mentioned on one of your shows, it wasn't on this one, but you had mentioned aquatic ape theory. And that's something that's been thrown out, but that sadly that documentary on the Animal Planet over mermaids, that was
the mermaids.
Fake.
It was so really bad.
Did a lot of damage, I think, about that theory and about some other things. But but anyway, as far as that extraterrestrial species that come here, both amphibious and aquatic, that have been reported throughout history, not just the Nomo, but there's different mer species that have been recorded also, different types of amphibious. I've shown an amphibian myself that I've encountered, that amphibious in nature, that I've seen beings like that represented anywhere. You know what I mean? So that's just food for thought. So I think we have to kind of keep it open when dealing with all this, and especially with those species that may have helped us, that might be also. And we see these USOs and going down, and that's still so much undiscovered in the ocean right now.
Yeah,
it's unreal. That's the one frontier almost as much as space here, right?
Absolutely. And here's a interesting thing too. I have a friend who lives in where I grew up, from my hometown, and he was in the Navy for a long time. And he contacted me and told me that while he was on a ship, I don't know if he's gone public with this, but there were he and the people on his ship were watching UFOs come out of the ocean, and so he saw it with his own eyes, and so he knows. He said, "I don't know if Bigfoot's real, but I know for a fact UFOs are." Okay, so they are coming in and out of the ocean pretty often. So um, I believe I believe there's a lot of truth to this story, and I did pick up that there are these beings down there, Barry, and as I was doing my research today, after I remote viewed all of this, and today I was looking things up and trying to make sense of my data. I found something that is called, I believe it's called a Ningen, or Ningen or a Ningen. Okay,
Ninja. Mhm.
a Ningen. It is something that's out of Japan. Okay,
A
so
martial artist? There's a martial artist?
not a
No,
ninja.
just kidding. Just
Now,
kidding.
don't go ninja.
Bad
Nothing
joke.
that
Bad
don't be
joke.
no
Bad joke.
ninja. Right.
Are they
Right.
turtles?
Well, there's something that is called a ningen or ninjin,
Mhm.
and it is a gigantic white, looks like a mermaid. Okay, it's like a big gigantic creature that it's got it's out of Antarctica. Okay, and it can look like a mermaid. It can look like this. Um, it has a lot of times it has fins on it, but it has hands that have 5 fingers on them. Okay.
It's got the humanoid features always
Yes.
described with it. But, I've heard various size these things can be, from 11 feet to 30 feet to just being huge. And it's
Yes.
sometimes they're the size of whales, these things. So, and essentially, because I would think they'd be the size of like a manatee or something like that, but they might be much, much bigger.
Well, I think I do have a picture. This is an alleged, that could be a piece of ice right there, but they say that is one emerging from the water. It says Ningens are humanoid creatures that live in the icy waters near Antarctica. They are human-like and they are completely white in color. Some people think they are undiscovered species of apes who are able to breathe underwater. Now, how interesting is that, Barry? Underwater apes. Okay.
There you go. Aquatic ape theory again.
Yeah. What is up with the aquatic apes?
I think it's viable, especially if you're dealing with the humanoids from somewhere else.
Another planet?
Yeah. I
Another
guess we have
dimension?
to, it's weird things, like even if we think about references in movies, like a movie that I remember when I was younger, Splash with Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks. Do you remember at the very end of that movie, she like took him down to like some city?
Yeah.
Glowing-
Crystalline or
glowing
something.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Just little stuff like that, I think maybe not about be as fantasy as we think.
Well, they put the truth out there for us as fantasy and fiction, but it's not always fiction, as we're finding out. So
there's another sea cryptid that comes from, I think it's out of Japan too. I think we have to look it up. It's called the Kappa, Kappa, the Kappa.
yeah.
But the Kappa is a being that's supposed to be not quite like the frogman, but similar to that. It's very interesting the way it's described as well. The Kappa being, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot when you start really going into these mermaids and thing. And I had mentioned before, it's actually that place that is the Olympic Peninsula. That there's a tribe there called the Quinaults, and they deal with the fishery factory there. And I know somebody had told me they'd been behind there, and they were being shown by workers there these huge nets, some of them like metal nets for salmon, and they had these huge 3-foot holes in them. And they were saying that these sea serpents would come and bite through the nets and go in and take the salmon and disappear. I heard that a couple of times. From somebody that lived there by the Olympic National Park and the Olympic Peninsula in that area there. So I did a video about that, and I showed some of the cannery and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just fascinating to me. I think this stuff goes so much into folklore and legend and urban myth that it never gets to us for us really to hear, to investigate,
Yes. That's right. Now, Jeffrey, I did pick up that it is alien. Okay. So I see your comment up there. I didn't pick up anything demonic. Okay. I was picking up just alien from these creatures. So, and I was picking up they were very ancient too.
Question. What about the origin? You described a little bit their origin. What was there though? What was at the origin? Like what kind of beings were there? Did you see any beings there, or who's creating these things? Who's in control of this?
That's
What
a
else?
good question. I don't know, Barry. I didn't pick up on that. I'm not sure. I was just getting that it was okay. I also I was picking up on something ancient. Okay, and okay after you start doing a little research on Antarctica, okay, you start seeing that there's a lot of history that's hidden from us. Okay, a lot of history has been hidden, and I do believe that Lori has an amazing comment right now. Many of the elites have been vacationing in Antarctica for some reason. Why is that? Well, let me tell you. I remember when the election happened, and a recent election where President Trump won. Okay, and I remember hearing about like John Kerry or somebody from the older administration going to Antarctica. And it was like a lot of people were flying down there, and it was almost like for one last hurrah, to go see something that was down there before they couldn't go anymore. I don't know why I'm thinking I've picked up on that since the beginning, since I started looking into this stuff. And there's something hidden down there. There's something that us common folk ain't supposed to be looking into. Okay. And it's because there's ancient civilizations down there, I believe. And that's where we're going to start talking tonight a little bit about this ancient map. Okay. There is an ancient map, and it is called, let's see if I can find it. Got a lot of notes. Ancient map. It is called the Piri Reis, the Piri Reis map. It's one of the most controversial charts ever discovered on Earth. It depicts Antarctica free of ice. So there was a time when there was no ice on Antarctica. Okay. This was a very long time ago. Okay. This is they say that it was mapped by the builders of Antarctica's pyramids. Now, that's saying there's pyramids on Antarctica. And I can tell you from doing remote viewing on in Alaska, okay, which is on the other side of the globe, we have the Dark Pyramid there. There are pyramids. I think there are pyramids all over the world. Okay. But yeah, there's several images circulating online showing that pyramids are on Antarctica.
Okay. That's something there. When I first saw that map, it's been a long time, but I saw that always correlated with Admiral Byrd and how he said there was that portal there at the pole. Yeah.
Oh, guess what? I picked up on portals. There are absolutely portals there. And actually my first target, I was picking up on interdimensional travel and things like that through that area. So yes. And so could they be just living there all the time, or could they be coming in and out of portals? I did pick up on it wasn't just a portal, it was like multiple portals down there. Wormholes, portals, all that stuff down there where this Organism 46B was. Okay. Because there's a whole lot more down there than just that Organism 46B. Yeah.
It's fascinating because often the inner Earth is not the way we think it would be. And the way that the Admiral Byrd thing, I think, leads us to think sometimes. But you look scientifically, something they found in the inner Earth is called the deep biosphere. And the deep biosphere contains about 95% of Earth's bacteria that's never been discovered. And look that up, the deep biosphere. So when you see some craft going into the ground, they're not all just going to bases. Some of these craft are organic and are going into the deep biosphere, and there's communication going on. Some of these craft are bacterial, fungal in nature. Food for thought on that, right? And I think that's another part of the contact phenomenon that's not expressed enough. It's not, along with these cavern type of things we have that are like a catacombs, honeycomb structure almost, that are where there's cities within those and things like that. It's fascinating. So much is hidden. You could take that all the way from what Phil Nicholson said about the bases he was building on forward to what was here long before Phil Nicholson, any of that, so.
I mean, I was absolutely picking up on these portals, and there's something super secretive about this. Okay. And it's something that people in charge, like the elites, I say elites, but with a lowercase e. Okay. The elites, whatever there's something that they know. There's some kind of hidden knowledge. There's a hidden history to all of this that they're trying to hide from this general public. Okay. And yes, I am not suicidal, you guys. Y'all remember, this is my disclaimer. All right. Yeah, I'm talking about it. Okay. So, and as a matter of fact, next Wednesday, I'm going to be doing a show about the hidden history of the United States, and Jesus Payan who's on Breaking Bad. You guys remember Gonzo from Breaking Bad? He's coming on my show on Wednesday during the day to talk about the hidden history of the U.S. And there's a whole lot of stuff that you'd never even think was not what we think it is, if that makes sense. Y'all tune in. We're going to talk about some weird stuff. Okay. But this is one of those things where we're getting breadcrumbed a little bit about something really odd going on in Antarctica. There's something more there. Through my remote viewing, especially with that dark pyramid, I do believe that there have been civilizations from other planets. And I'm going to say Mars. Okay. I'm just going to say Mars, just for an example, have come and have seeded life on this planet in some way. And that, that's just my opinion. That's just from some of the data from our remote viewing targets. But I believe that could be true for Antarctica before it was frozen.
Two things. One thing is more is coming out of the earth in terms of things are being uncovered, such as I think Göbekli Tepe is an exact demonstration of that, how that kind of just blew out of the desert and they found it. You know what I mean? But
is that how they found that?
Yeah, it was covered up. It was covered up in the desert there. But, going forward, Antarctica, before it was even frozen like it is now, perfect place around the poles to put bases and places where humans are not going to go.
We're not allowed. I don't believe we're allowed.
It takes us all into that really into what there was a book that I used to kind of have a copy of it here, but it's a book that I got probably 15 years ago by a guy named Matt Toonies. It's called Cryptoterrestrials. Mm-hmm. And he died a kind of bad death after he put that book out. But what he was saying that the cryptoterrestrials are humanoids that stay right here with us on this planet. And what they use is the entire facade of extraterrestrial out there to keep people looking that way instead of right
looking
here
to the sky.
Where the earth
exactly
bound right here, in the inner earth and things like that. So,
I mean, don't stop looking to the sky, y'all. Everybody look up. It's a beautiful sight, right? But we're talking about, like, I picked up on interdimensional travel and interdimensional stuff. So that would be like wormholes, portals, things like that. And that's there. I mean, I firmly believe that when we talk about aliens and things like that, it's coming in and out of our earth here. Like, it's not out there. It's not up there. It's right here in front of us. Okay. And that's why when I remote viewed the Apollo 11 moon landing, I know I got a lot of slack from that. I did have to back off of that a little bit because I did get contacted right before my show. And I wasn't able to talk a whole lot about what I remote viewed there, but I can say that I do not believe that those astronauts got there the way we were told. Like, it's not just like a spaceship. I think there's a different type of travel that they were doing. Edgar
Mitchell. Mitchell had done, since I sent you a copy of that book, he talked a lot about how they were trained to remote view before they went to the moon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is something they went through there. So, I mean, it's before they did it. So it's fascinating to hear all these things. And then when they get there, they're viewing when they're there too. We never hear about that. And he started that whole remote viewing institution that was called Quantrek, right? And that was based on that. He had said when coming back as the shuttle was turning, that he could, that's the barbecue effect, kind of is what he's calling it, I think. But the shuttle turns so to stop it from overheating as they're doing reentry. And
with
at that
radiation,
point,
yeah.
Before that, he's looking out and he can see through the window like all the stars starting to swirl. And he said something around the lines of feeling every one of these stars was connected to a cell of his body.
Wow, we are one, right? We're all connected.
And getting blissed out by that.
And we're all stardust, right?
Yeah. There's
That's
the
an
guy's
interesting point.
Jack Horkheimer, the Star Hustler. He said, "Always keep looking up." I like that guy.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
but this is I didn't expect this to go this way, but dealing with things like Mars and the places that are populated, and that this is some type of a laboratory, and how many different beings are here. I have past life memories that deal with certain individuals that were dealing with these black pyramids. And when I heard you and Tanya mention that, it really tripped me out. I have a memory of these black pyramids, and they were like somewhat cloaked. And right now, anyone wants to look this up. When you two talked about that and how you saw that these pyramids were cloaked in this type of material, right now, scientifically, I challenge everybody to look up Vanta black, VANTA black. It's a type of melanin dominant substance that they're using right now that actually blacks out light in a different way. It's called Vanta black. And that's something like that was covering these pyramids.
Wow. Well, we picked up on obsidian, I believe. It was obsidian, which is really interesting. Now, I don't know if I put this comment up there yet, but yeah, there have been many world leaders that have gone down to Antarctica with the church and with astronauts, and I have not done my research, but Wink at Me is saying that Buzz Aldrin apparently they had to airlift him out of there because he had a stroke. I'm not sure. I haven't heard that. But a lot of, I have heard in the past several years, there have been a lot of elitists, let's just say, and world leaders that have visited there. Now, why would that be? Okay. Let's see if I have any pictures. I don't know if I uploaded any pictures of under Antarctica, but there could be underground bases, which I did pick up on, right? And there were secret Nazi bases there. Okay. And we all know that that regime was connected with a lot of UFO production and activity and getting technology. They were interested in getting secret knowledge and weapons that could give them the upper hand in war and things like that. So it's said that there are bunkers and bases that the Germans used in Antarctica. So massive bases, by the way. So, but why would all of our world leaders be going there, Barry? If this was something to do with the German, Nazi regime.
Who knows? I mean, as far as we know, it could be something like what we heard about the Alaskan pyramid. Yeah. That there's some type of a machine in there that can generate enough power to power that whole continent, and that they're trying to back engineer it and do that type of activity. So that's what I imagine. I think a lot of this is about back engineering all this stuff, back cloning some of these creatures we have that are popping up right now, these cryptids. I mean, they're obviously coming from somewhere. I mean, it's getting, the demonic factor on this planet that's doing that. And I think I mentioned before, and people were laughing at me, so forgive me, but the island of Dr. Moreau, that's what this place seems like to me. And these places, like, what kind of place was that where the chupacabra came from? I mean, what John Vivinko had said that they viewed, and he said in that video on my channel, he had said that the chupacabra, first thing they saw is this being eating its own children. After it gives birth, it tries to eat them, and it's a marsupial. And he was saying it was very horrific to see it and how they have to isolate the child from the mother immediately. And the stuff he was saying, and then that this hurricane broke in the walls and these things escaped.
Wow, interesting. It's just weird. Yeah, we have so many cryptids that are coming to light right now. So many more dogman reports and stuff like that. Like, where is this coming from? I've been out in the field doing research for a long time. I've never encountered a dogman before. Not to say, I won't one day, but it's interesting.
And you just did the thing with the dog-haired woman. And to me, it trips me out because I'd heard several times exorcists, one being Malachi Martin, when he was still alive. Mm-hmm. He talked about these demonic possessions that often involved physical dogs with human faces and how they were haunting people. And, it comes down a lot to that, whether it's that or we're talking about the Wahila or the dog man. It seems like often when it deals with dog and cryptids, it's got this dark thing on it, this dark, negative, demonic thing on it. It just seems to be the way it is it not? Have you seen anything outside of St. Christopher about them being good at all?
You know what? Well, I have actually been talking with. I haven't heard of any of them being good, but I've also been hearing stories to where people have. I had a friend in my presence yesterday. We were talking face to face, and he told me that he had encountered a dog man or a dog woman. It was actually a dog woman, and
Really?
and so yeah, he and his friend, and he said that it seemed to not want to hurt them. If it wanted to, it could have killed both. It could have killed him, but it didn't. Okay, it did try to scare him out of there, but it didn't kill him. So I don't think that they're all like out for blood and trying to kill everybody in their wake and all that kind of stuff. But
so it tried to scare him out of there the same way a Sasquatch would scare someone off.
Yes.
But did he not get a malevolent feeling from the being itself, though?
It wasn't good. I mean, he carries 50 cows around with him everywhere he goes. I mean, he's not okay. He's not going to he didn't shoot it though. That's the thing. He could have shot this thing and he didn't, because it did not put off that vibe that it was going to kill him.
But he's not going to be going out there doing no gifting, right?
No gifting, but
Sorry,
he's one of my good friends who's like, stay strapped or get clapped. Okay. And that's the way a lot of us roll out there. So
what'd you say? Stage clap? What?
I said stay strapped or get clapped. It's a saying. You had to be careful. Listen, it's just out in the field. Okay. When it comes to things like that, you just have to, be armed sometimes when you are dealing with something like a dog man. Okay. So I know that's not the most, it's not etiquette. I know I probably shouldn't have said that, but anyways, yes. So, but the thing was not, it didn't come out him. So, and I was actually just on a podcast, like on a show right before we went live. And I was talking with Jeremiah and Nick Valente. We were talking it's called On the Trails, which I have a show called Off the Trails. Okay. And we were discussing, what we're discussing. Oh, I just had a brain fart. I forgot. I just lost my train of thought. But anyways, yeah, let's talk about something else. I just lost my train of thought. But anyways, yes.
I
just had a live brain fart, y'all.
I think bringing it back to maybe, and I'll assume responsibility for this. I think I got us way off topic.
We've gotten a little off topic, but it's okay.
Taking it back to this organism 46B. Yes. I think connecting it really with the extraterrestrial thing is important here. And not just because science is starting to do that with the octopus now and extraterrestrial origins, but also just in dealing with the amount of aquatic type of contact scenarios we have. And I say that now, somebody being that I've been put on a platform to where I've got to communicate with a lot of different contactee experiencers, and a lot have had something happen that includes some type of a mermaid or mer species, we can call it, or amphibious or something like that. And I'm very curious because I encountered a being that was amphibious. So, and I mean, this is a physical encounter. When you see something like that, it blows you away, but you want to know why, what's the connection with Earth, these things. So it's important, I think, what you're dealing with this. So thank you for looking at the target. Because I felt like it was real, and I picked so much up off of it. And then it seemed like it was getting discredited a lot, all the way till recently. I'd read something about, they were saying, oh, Putin he's growing one of these things. Really, it's just this organism. He's been growing them, and they're releasing them down there. I think whatever we're dealing with is not man-made.
I think it's ancient, actually. That's what I was picking up in my data. I started making the connection with the Ningen. I think that's how you pronounce it. I was kind of making that connection after I remote viewed it, and I did a little bit of studying today after that. And I know that it doesn't look so much like an octopus or a squid, but these things are very human-like, and they do have hands with fingers, and they're very ancient and they're gigantic. They're huge. I mean, who's to say these things are not shapeshifters as well? And another interesting thing is that some people say that they can walk on land. They have legs. They can come out of the water. These are all the different pictures of them.
You know where that's represented in entertainment. The creature from the Black Lagoon. That's a black and white. The creature of the Black Lagoon, there were several of them, all the way to one of them was called The Creature Walks Among Us, because it could come out of the water for a little bit and walk, but it'd be like that, but it'd walk around for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how much of these things are portrayed, and I think, somebody made a Daryl. I just saw Daryl had a comment over here. No, it's not like that where the Eugene Levy had to spray her with the water to show she had fins. No, it's not like that, I don't think. I'm just joking.
Oh yeah, no, that's actually a great movie. But I feel like they put things out there, little tidbits, little breadcrumbs to get us kind of acclimated with what's really out there. And the ocean is so vast, it's so open, it's so large. We don't know what all's out there. It's a little scary. Now, I do believe that Organism 46B is real. This happened. It is a real being out there. Like I said, I did not remote view the actual attack on those people, but I did see that it can kill people, and it's very big. Okay. But it has something to do with underground bases, ancient civilizations, perhaps. And it's just something it's not even from this planet.
And let me get this straight. So you feel like, as I do, that there are many of them, and that it's almost a species of kraken, right? Okay.
I guess you can call it a kraken. I don't know. Now I'm it's a little confusing. I was picking up kraken, but then I was making a connection to these ningens. Okay. So however that's working out, I'm not sure.
Well, that's interesting, because like I said, that some of the reports of this Organism 46B, before that, there were these divers that pulled them down, luring them down. Same as that other lake. So that could almost have, if the Ningen some of them were smaller. I've seen reports of them being big, but some of the smaller one, humanoid, like even that picture you had there, that changes things a little.
It does.
And I find that interesting when dealing with that. And that picture you had showed, when I was a kid, there was a cartoon called Moray and Manta. And it was this lady who swam with this being who was a mer person. And he was like part of that whole Atlantean type of thing that was connected. But they showed several cartoon beings that looked similar to what you had there. And I think not that one, but the other one. That to me looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon, kind of, to me. Yeah, that one there. Yeah. That being Manta looked kind of like that in a way.
Yeah.
So similar. I think that's fascinating. And maybe we need to give that more
research. We're going to look into it some more. Yeah.
No, we laughed off so much,
Yes. Well, Barry, we have run out of time tonight, and thank goodness, because I don't want any more brain farts tonight. It's been a long day, but this has been a lot of fun. And I know that we had talked about doing maybe the Loch Ness monster, and what is the other one called? I think it's from Africa.
Ogopogo.
Ogopogo. We're going to do another show just specifically on those two sea creatures, because I have a feeling they're going to be kind of the similar organism or creature. Okay, so we'll do that in the future. But this Organism 46B, this is a doozy. This is a weird one. Okay, but I think there's some validity to it, and I think it's real. So
you think it's connected to electrical eel? It's got
some
like
kind
that?
of electrical stuff going on with it. Yes, I don't know.
Wow.
There was something electric about it. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It can make people, it can hurt people. It can give them heart attacks and all that kind of stuff. So I totally picked up on it. Okay. So yeah, well, listen, Barry, thank you so much for being here tonight. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me.
it kind of flew by, and I feel like there's a whole lot more we could talk about. But if we go to a second part of the show, we're going to go off on some weird tangent. So we might as well go ahead and cut it tonight. Even though it would be a lot of fun. So, Barry, thank you again for being here on Remote Viewing
Thanks for having me. I'm
Investigations.
very honored. Thank you. And thank you to your audience who's been very kind to me. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to do it again. Okay. And we'll do it again. I think I'm going to start doing a lot of really creepy kind of targets for October. We're going to be doing a lot of interesting shows on Friday nights, and it's all going to be super extra creepy. So you guys tune in, please. And also tune in every Wednesday. I have a live show, you guys, called Glitch in the Matrix, Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow night, y'all join me on Space.Radio. I have my friend Jim Helbert coming in to talk about remote viewing and dowsing in the Bigfoot research field. And then on Sunday night, I have Tex from Texas Front Porch coming on to join me. We're going to talk about alien abductions while we are doing Bigfooting in the field. So, Barry, where can people find you? What's your YouTube channel?
It's Barry Littleton on YouTube. No handles or anything cool. On Patreon under Barry Littleton also. And on Facebook, I do a little communicating there. So a lot of my stuff's on YouTube, though. And go to the playlist kind of because it's shadow banned. So playlist has a couple hundred videos on there.
And yes, and
thank you very
Patreon.
much. I'll throw out real quick to somebody who keeps saying it. Yes, that movie is just Patrick Duffy, the man from Atlantis. I used to watch that when I was a kid.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys check out check that out. And Splash. I'm gonna go back and watch Splash this weekend. That sounds like a good movie. Yeah. All right. Well, Barry, thank you for suggesting this target. This has been a great show. It's a lot of fun. I will see you guys tomorrow night. You guys tune in. And if anyone would like to see my data, go to my Patreon, the Cryptid Huntress. And you guys sign up for Barry's Patreon, Barry Littleton. Okay. We'll see you guys next time. Y'all have a great night. Bye, y'all.